All right, let's just jump right into this. Some huge news just dropped from the AI world because OpenAI has officially launched a brand new and very highly anticipated subscription plan. And honestly, it could really change how millions of us use AI every single day.
And here is the headline you need to know. It's a new tier, and it's only $8 a month here in the US. Now that price point, that's a huge deal, and it really signals a major shift in their strategy.
So that's the big question, right? What are you actually getting for that money? Where does it fit in with all the other plans they offer? And, what does this mean for the future of AI access for everybody? Don't worry, we're going to break it all down.
Okay, first things first. The new plan is officially called ChatGPT Go. And after what OpenAI is calling a super successful pilot program, it's not a test anymore. It's here. It's available right now to pretty much everyone, everywhere that ChatGPT is available. If you look at OpenAI's own words, their mission here is pretty clear. They're defining ChatGPT Go as a plan to, quote, expand access and help more people use this advanced AI in their daily life. So this tells you their target isn't just the power users or the coders anymore, it's everybody.
And check out this timeline. It's pretty wild how fast this all went down. So the plan was first tested out in India back in August 2025. By the end of last year, it had already exploded into 170 more countries, becoming their fastest growing plan ever. And now, January 2026, boom, it's officially global. I mean, that is just an incredibly fast rollout.
So what's the deal? What does your $8 actually get you with ChatGPT Go? Let's get into the key features. First up, obviously, is the price, $8 a month. Now, OpenAI does say the pricing will be adjusted for different regions, but this really sets a new and, let's be honest, a very accessible entry point for a paid AI subscription. And here it is. This is the single biggest upgrade you get over the free tier. 10 times, a 10x increase in usage. So, what does that really mean when you're actually using it?
Well, this 10x boost applies pretty much across the board. You get 10 times more messages, 10 times more file uploads, 10 times more image creation. On top of that, subscribers get access to their newest model, GPT 5.2 Instant, plus a longer memory and context window. So it's going to remember more of your conversation for longer. Okay, so with this new plan on the scene, what does the whole ChatGPT subscription lineup look like now? Understanding this is, well, it's key to figuring out if this new Go plan is actually the right one for you. This table really lays it all out perfectly. Down at the bottom, you've got the free tier, right? For casual users. Now, slotting right in above that is the new Go plan at $8, and that's aimed squarely at everyday users. Then you move up to the familiar Plus plan at $20 for professionals. And way up at the top, you've got the Pro plan at $200 for the real power users. You can just see how Go carves out this brand new sweet spot right in the middle for a massive audience. But there's a catch. To make this new low price possible, the launch of Go comes with another pretty significant change to how OpenAI does business. They're introducing ads. So here's the breakdown of how the ad model is going to work. As you can see, the free plan and the new Go plan will now be ad supported. The higher price tiers, so that's Plus, Pro, Business, and Enterprise, all of those will stay completely ad-free. So why the change? Well, OpenAI's official reasoning is that bringing in ads is what actually allows them to keep offering the service for free and at this new lower price for ChatGPT Go. It's a move they say is directly tied to their whole mission of making AI accessible. So we've looked at the features, the price, the new ad model. What's the big picture here? What's the real takeaway from this ChatGPT Go launch? Why does this matter? When you boil it all down, it's this. ChatGPT Go is all about lowering the barrier to entry for really advanced AI. It's taking these powerful features that used to be behind a $20 paywall and making them affordable for everyday stuff. Writing, learning, creating things for a truly global audience. And that kind of leaves us with one final question to think about. When you have a tenfold increase in AI power available for the price of a couple of coffees, is this new level of affordable AI going to fundamentally change the way you work, create, and learn every single day? It's definitely something to think about.
Okay, let's just jump right in. What if you could build an entire interactive world, not in months or years, but like in an instant? Today, we're going to break down a new AI model that promises to do just that. And believe me, it's about to completely change the game for creators and players alike.
Seriously, just think about this for a second. Imagine you're playing a game, walking through a world that doesn't even exist until the moment you lay eyes on it. Every step you take, every corner you turn, the world literally generates itself around you, reacting to your every move. It sounds like something straight out of science fiction, right?
Well, it's not science fiction anymore. A new model from a company called Overworld is actually turning this wild idea into a reality. It's called Waypoint-1, and it is a massive, massive leap forward in how we think about real-time world generation.
So what makes this such a big deal? What's the secret sauce here? Well, it all comes down to a fundamental breakthrough in interactivity. And to really get why Waypoint-1 is so revolutionary, we first need to look at the tech it's leaving in the dust.
You see, up until now, most of these world models were really just video generators in disguise. They were kind of tweaked to accept some basic commands, but the result was always, well, pretty bad. We're talking slow, laggy experiences with controls that felt totally disconnected and clunky. They just weren't built for real, fluid interaction.
And this slide just lays it out perfectly. On one side, you've got the old models. High latency, that awful delay between your input and what happens on screen. Super simple controls, like just moving or rotating. And the world only updates every few frames. But then you look at Waypoint-1. We're talking zero latency, full mouse and keyboard controls. It generates a new frame for every single input, instantly. It's the difference between watching a movie and actually being in it.
So you're probably wondering, how on earth did they pull this off? Well, the secret is in a completely new training philosophy. It's not just about fancier tech, it's about how the model was taught from day one.
This is the key difference right here. Waypoint-1 wasn't just adapted for games, it was born from them. It learned by watching 10,000 hours of actual gameplay. It didn't just analyze the visuals, it looked at text captions and, this is the most important part, the exact control inputs. Every mouse movement, every single key press.
The training process itself is really cool. It happens in two main stages. First up is what they call diffusion forcing. This is where the model learns to predict and basically clean up future frames based on what it's already seen. You can think of it like an artist learning how to restore a blurry old photograph. Then, in the second stage, self-forcing, it refines that skill. The model just practices generating frames one after another, just like in a real game. This helps it learn from its own mistakes and just gets better and better, cutting down errors over time.
Now, the core piece of tech that makes this real-time magic happen is something called a causal attention mask. To put it simply, this forces the model to only look at the past and the present. It literally cannot see into the future. And that limitation is the whole key. It's what allows the model to generate the very next frame instantly without having to wait and figure out what comes next.
But look, having a brilliant model is only half the battle. To actually run this stuff in real time, you need an incredibly powerful engine. And making this tech fast enough to work on our computers at home, that was a huge challenge.
And the power behind Waypoint-1 is a custom-built library they call World Engine. Its entire reason for being is just one thing: high performance and super low latency. It's like the finely tuned race engine that takes the model's brain and gives it lightning-fast reflexes.
And the result of all that optimization? A rock-solid 60 frames per second. I mean, for anyone who plays games, you know that's the gold standard. It's what you need for a smooth, responsive experience. To hit that number with a generative model on consumer hardware is just a massive engineering achievement.
So how did they do it? It's a whole series of smart optimizations that are kind of the secret sauce. They use techniques like feature caching to remember and reuse data instead of constantly recalculating it. And they use stuff like Operation Fusion to bundle tasks together to make them way more efficient. Now, you don't need to be an engineer to get the big picture here. Every single piece of this engine is built for one thing, and one thing only: speed.
Okay, this all sounds absolutely incredible. But what does it actually mean for you, for creators? Let's talk about how this technology goes from being a cool research paper to being a tool that anyone can use to build new realities.
This isn't some abstract, far-off idea. This quote here, it's pulled directly from their example code. With a simple text prompt, a game where you herd goats in a beautiful valley, you can generate a playable experience. Just like that. The barrier to creating a world is no longer about complex coding or 3D modeling. It's just your imagination.
And maybe the most exciting part of all this is that Overworld has made the model and the World Engine code available to everyone.
This isn't some locked-away proprietary tech. It is an open invitation for developers, for artists, for hobbyists everywhere to just start building. This could totally change indie game development, you know? It could let tiny teams or even just one person create these huge, explorable worlds that used to be possible only for giant studios.
So this brings us to one final, really fascinating question. When you have a tool that can turn any description into an interactive reality, the only limit really is your imagination. So what world would you build first? A city floating in the clouds? A glowing alien jungle? A world based on your favorite book? The canvas is totally blank, and for the very first time, the possibilities are actually endless.
All right, let's dive in. Today we're looking at something really fascinating that's happening in the world of AI. It's a new kind of gold rush, and it's turning free community-built tools into absolute corporate giants. So there's this pattern starting to pop up in the world of AI infrastructure. It's like a repeatable playbook where these popular open source projects, built by communities and researchers, are just blowing up into massive venture-backed companies almost overnight. And that brings us to the big question we're tackling today. How does that even happen? I mean, how does a free tool that anyone can download and use suddenly get slapped with a price tag in the hundreds of millions or even billions of dollars? Let's get into it. Okay, so to really get this, let's look at our first case study. It perfectly illustrates this whole trend. We're going to talk about a company called RadixArk. So RadixArk is the brand new company that's been built around this super popular open source AI tool called SGLang. And what SGLang does in a nutshell is pretty simple but incredibly powerful. It helps AI models run way faster and a whole lot cheaper. But what's really wild here is just how fast this all happened. The SGLang project itself only started in a UC Berkeley lab back in 2023. Then, by August of 2025, boom, the company RadixArk is officially announced. And just a few months after that, we started hearing about its valuation. And wow, what a number! RadixArk was recently valued at around $400 million. For a company that was officially announced just a few months ago, built on a free open source tool, I mean, that's just an insane figure.
And this is where you see the human element, right? The talent driving this whole thing. The CEO and co-founder is Ying Sheng. Not only was she a key contributor to the original SGLang project, but she was also an engineer at xAI. Yeah, that's Elon Musk's big AI startup. She left one of the hottest companies in the space to build this thing.
Okay, so why is this worth so much money? To get that, we really need to understand the billion-dollar problem it's solving. And that problem has a name: inference.
So what on earth is inference? Well, to put it simply, after an AI model has done all its training, inference is when it actually does its job. It's the live part. When you type a prompt into a chatbot and it gives you an answer, that's inference. It's the AI in action mode.
Check out this analogy. It really helps. Think of training an AI model like writing a giant, super complex cookbook. It's a huge, intensive effort, but you pretty much just do it once. Inference, though, is like running a massive, busy restaurant using that cookbook 24/7 to serve millions of customers. The hard part was writing the book. The expensive part is running that kitchen all day, every day.
And that right there is why these tools like SGLang are a gold mine. That kitchen work, the inference, makes up a huge chunk of the server costs for any AI company. So by making that process run faster and more efficiently, they're basically saving companies a ton of money, like right away.
Now you might be thinking, okay, cool story, but maybe RadixArk is just a fluke. Well, it's not. In fact, we're seeing this exact same pattern play out again from the very same place. Let me introduce you to VLLM. It's another open source project, a bit more mature, also designed to make inference more efficient. And get this, it came out of the exact same lab at UC Berkeley where SGLang was born, Professor Ion Stoica's lab. And the new company they're spinning out from VLM, the rumored valuation is around $1 billion. $1 billion. So this pattern isn't just repeating, it's getting bigger and bigger. So let's just lay this out. It's pretty clear. You've got two different open source projects, both born in the same university lab, both focused on making inference better, and both are now spinning out into these massively valued commercial companies. This isn't a coincidence, it's a playbook. And look, this isn't just some Berkeley thing. This whole playbook is happening inside a much bigger market that is absolutely exploding. So let's zoom out for a second. So we started with RadixArk, right? Sitting at a cool, roughly $400 million valuation. But they are definitely not alone.
A competitor in this space, Fireworks AI, raised money last October at a $4 billion valuation, offering a very similar service. And then, just this week, another player in the game, Bastin, which also helps companies run their AI models more efficiently, reportedly just got funded at a mind-blowing $5 billion. I mean, this chart just lays it all out, doesn't it? From RadixArk's $400 million all the way up to Base10 at $5 billion. What we're seeing is a flat-out gold rush, with venture capital pouring billions into the plumbing, the essential infrastructure that makes all of AI actually work. So what does this all mean? After seeing all these huge numbers, what's the real takeaway here? What's the future of free AI going to look like? Okay, here's the bottom line. The whole relationship between open source projects and big money is changing fast. These community projects are now prime targets for VCs because they've already proven their tech works. The runway from a college lab to becoming a billion-dollar unicorn is getting ridiculously short. And we're seeing the business model crystallize. Keep the core tool free for everyone, but then build a company on top that charges big businesses for hosting, support, and all the specialized services they need. And that leaves us with one last really big question to chew on. The whole idea of open source is that it creates value for everybody in the community. But as this new gold rush gets faster and bigger, you have to ask, in this new world, who actually gets to capture all that value in the end? Thanks for watching.
You know that feeling, right? You're out walking the dog, maybe you're in the shower, and boom, a brilliant idea hits. Or you suddenly remember every single thing you need to get done this week. But by the time you can actually grab a pen or open an app, it's just gone. Poof. Well, today, we're diving into a new AI feature from the to-do list app Todoist that's built to solve that exact problem. So here's the game plan. First, we're going to talk about that universal problem we all face. Then, we'll look at Todoist's wild solution, this thing called Ramble. We'll peek under the hood to see how it works, pit it against all those shiny new AI gadgets, and then, this is the fun part, we'll check out the actual results from their testing. And we'll wrap it all up by asking, what does this mean for the future of how you get stuff done?
All right, first up, the to-do list problem. It's that classic, frustrating story of a great thought just slipping through your fingers before you can nail it down, from a fleeting idea to a totally forgotten task. I mean, think about it. We are all juggling this constant fire hose of thoughts, reminders, and ideas. But that moment where you have to stop what you're doing, pull out your phone, unlock it, find the right app, and then start typing with your thumbs, that little bit of friction, that's often all it takes for the idea to just vanish. The whole goal here is to get rid of that friction.
So how do you close that gap between thought and action? Well, this brings us to section 2. Todoist's answer is to let you literally speak your to-do list into existence with their new AI feature.
They call it Todoist Ramble, and the magic words here are meandering, unstructured speech. This is the key. You don't have to talk like a robot giving a command. You can just, well, ramble. You can talk naturally, and the AI is smart enough to listen to your stream of consciousness, pull out the actual tasks, figure out the deadlines, and then, bam, it organizes it all into a neat little list for you.
And check this out. It's smarter than just a simple transcription service. You can correct yourself while you're talking, just like you would with a person. So you could say, okay, schedule a meeting for Wednesday. You know what? Actually, make that Thursday. The AI gets it. It understands the context and makes the change. No problem.
That is seriously impressive. The ability to understand context like that is a real game changer. So how on earth does it actually work? Let's pop the hood for a second.
For you, the user, it feels incredibly simple. Step 1, you just talk. You hit the Ramble button and let it rip. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, the AI, which is running on Google's Gemini 2.5 model, is transcribing and organizing everything in real time. And then, step 3, a perfectly structured list of tasks just shows up in your app. It's kind of magic. Okay, but whenever you're talking to an AI, you gotta ask about privacy, right? And this is super important. The audio is not stored or used to train their AI models. That's a huge deal. On top of that, the app has an SOC2 Type 2 certification, which is basically a fancy way of saying it has a major industry stamp of approval for having secure and trustworthy data systems.
Now, this all software-first approach puts Todoist right smack in the middle of a really big debate that's happening in tech right now. To get the best AI experience, do you really need to buy a brand new, dedicated gadget? Or is the supercomputer you already carry around good enough? I mean, look at the two sides. On one hand, you have software like Todoist Ramble. It just uses the phone you already have, and it slots right into the way you already work.
There's no extra thing to charge or carry around. But on the other hand, you've got this new wave of AI gadgets, smart rings, special wearables, and with those, you have to buy new hardware, learn how to use it, keep it charged, and you're often stuck inside their own little world.
Okay, this all sounds really cool in theory, but come on, did it actually work? Did people use it? Well, let's get to the good stuff and look at the results from the beta test.
This number just blew me away. In the first 3 weeks of testing alone, people completed almost 300,000 Ramble sessions. Now that is not just people trying it out once. That's a sign that people were coming back and using it again and again.
And it wasn't just that people were using it. The feature itself got way better and fast. The success rate for actually creating a task from a Ramble jumped from just 40% in October all the way up to 62% by December. That shows the AI was learning and getting more reliable in a really short amount of time.
But here it is. This is the number that really tells the story, especially from a business point of view. New users who gave Ramble a try were 5 times more likely to upgrade to a paid plan. That proves this wasn't just some cool gimmick. It was so genuinely useful that it convinced people to actually pay for it.
So after all that, where does this leave us? Let's kind of bring it all home and talk about the key takeaways and what this all means for you.
So here's what it all boils down to. Really powerful, really useful AI can be incredibly accessible. It doesn't have to live inside some new expensive gadget you have to buy. The data shows this approach is effective, it has a real impact on business, and it's a huge point in favor of software. It proves that the phone already in your pocket is a major contender in the race to build the perfect AI assistant.
And that really just leaves us with one final thought. As all these new AI tools keep popping up, is the real winner going to be some shiny new device we all have to go out and buy? Or is it going to be the smart, seamless software that just makes the devices we already own and love that much better? Something to think about.